Hey, everybody. It's time for the final chapter of Red Kayak by Priscilla Cummings. We are so thankful that we have been allowed to read this book for the whole time as we've been stuck here at home dealing with the COVID-19 virus. Chapter 28, the final chapter. Now, in chapter 27, JT and Digger were sentenced to 9 months in a forestry camp in Maryland for committing second degree murder. So let's see what this chapter has today. It is actually kind of short, so we'll see what happens as we wrap up the book today. A for sale sign appeared at the end of the D'Angelo's driveway a few days later. We'd already heard that they moved out. At least they were together, I thought. They were living in Virginia, someone told my mom at work. She also found out that Mrs. D'Angelo was going to have a baby girl in December. I still ride my bike by their place once in a while. You can't see the house from the road, of course, but I met a real estate guy coming out of the driveway one day in a black BMW. He stopped to put down his window and say hi. I asked him, did he have a buyer yet? And he said no. So I asked him how the garden was doing, the one by the pool with the rocks and everything. He smirked. No garden there anymore. I had a terrible vision then of Mrs. D'Angelo angrily ripping up the butterfly bush and the flowers I'd planted and heaving them all over the fence. Oh, she took that with her, he laughed. Dug up all those plants, that big purple one, the stones, everything. She did? I guess my mouth hung open after I asked the question. Weird, huh? The guy asked me. I mean, why not just plant another one? I tell you, I see a lot of strange things, but no. I stopped him. It's not weird. You see, it was a butterfly garden. Last spring, we planted it. Should have known he wouldn't understand, but before I even had a chance to explain, the guy was buzzing his window back up. Like I said earlier, it's fall now and high school has started. I do my homework and dribble the basketball around. I'll walk over to the river's edge with Tilly. In fact, on my way there, I just recently noticed how the path JT and I had tramped down through the soybean field was mostly grown in now, and you could still see it a narrow, sandy line between my house and his. I think a lot about JT and Digger. I wonder if they're actually cutting down trees and sleeping in tents at that forestry camp. I wonder if it's cold at night and whether the bugs are bad and what the food is like and how much they've changed. I don't suppose I'll ever hear from them again, but Mom says otherwise. Maybe. One day after school over at the Food Lion in Centerville, I ran into Kate, and she said that JT was going to write to me. She said he was doing okay and that her dad was still waiting for a new kidney, but that her mom had hired some help at the farm. Kate's hair was up in a little braids that were tied with green and white ribbons, my old middle school colors. She had her field hockey uniform on and a bag of hamburger rolls in her hand. I wanted to ask her more, but Kate said, well, she probably ought to get going. I said, yeah, me too. She looked back, though, when Kate walked away. She looked back. Dad, he's still crabbing, but only every other day. Been a bumper crop of crabs these past couple weeks, but it's only because the crabs are on the move now before winter sets in. Dad lined himself up a good bit of carpentry work for the winter and starts in on it early. Still, he says he'll haul out those crab pots again in the spring. I can only hope that I will too. Evenings, Dad and I are building us a boat, a little day sailor. We drew up the plans on the kitchen table, then hammered the frames together and laid the keel last night. And when it's done, we're going to name it for my mother. She doesn't know it yet. Probably going to call it Miss D or Miss Delight. I don't know, probably not the latter. I'm pretty sure it'll take us all winter to finish the project, but I look forward to the day that we catch our first breeze and go sailing down the Corsica. With any luck, I'll bet we could sail that little boat all the way down to Queenstown and back in one afternoon. All right, guys, that is the end of Red Kayak. I hope you guys have enjoyed this book. I'll be honest with you, this is truly one of my favorite books that I read every year. There's a lot of drama in it, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. Now, if you are interested, there is actually a sequel to this book. It is not told from Brady's perspective, though. I will give you a couple hints here. First of all, the book is called The Journey Back. It is, again, by Priscilla Cummings, and it is told from the perspective of Digger. And the only hint that I'm going to give you is that he is at the juvenile forestry camp where it begins to take place. Now, I can't tell you this one either, much about it, but there is a third book that I believe Priscilla has written, and it is from JT's perspective. I don't know anything about that book. I haven't read that one, but I hope you guys have liked it and that you're interested. Now, as we wrap this up, please answer today's questions or question. Get your homework done, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.